Alright, welcome back to R-TAC and Darters, and we're going to talk about the Yugoslavian M24/52 rifle and try to clear up some nomenclatures and some myths about the rifle and go from there. The M24 is based on, this one right here is based on the F&N model 24/30 that F&N made for export. F&N sold a bunch of these to the Yugoslavians. They also set up a factory there and licensed copied of the M24 to the Yugoslavians. This rifle here is a M24/52. We'll get into that in a minute, and you'll see what a lot of English speakers and collectors will call Produce 44, which, if I cannot drop it again, a lot of people will say, well, this was made in 1944. That's far from the truth. That is not produced, or however you want to say it. That is the Yugoslavian name and date or code for the factory that did the rework to the rifle. And this is a rework. This is not an M48. This is an M24 Yugoslavian rifle. It was either made in F&N by the Belgians there, by Fabrique Nationale, or it was made in Yugoslavia on the same machinery that it's a licensed copy of. It is a all matching number rifle. It should be, since it was reworked in 1952 and hasn't been touched. The Royal Yugoslavian crest has been removed. That would have happened in the 50s, either in 47 at the first rework these rifles went through, or 52 at the final rework. The reason why the Kingdom of Yugoslavia's crest was removed was because they no longer existed. Yugoslavia was controlled by Tito and the communists. So, with that being said, so this rifle here was made in the 1930s, either, like I said, by Fabrique Nationale or by Yugoslavia. It's hard to tell because the records being kept then are not all that great. We got the standard ladder sight there. It goes from 300 meters up to 1900 meters. Oh, I'm sorry, 2000 meters right there. It is. It's hiding. So that begs the difference, you know. So these are 300 meters. So what's that? Roughly 250 yards or something like that. So if you go to shoot these at 100 yards, they should be shooting quite high, to say the least. There you go. There, you're set at 2,000 meters. If you can make a shot like that, you're definitely Hawkeye, buddy. And of course, that was left over. These long-range sights were left over from World War I thinking of trench warfare, long-range shooting, precision shooting, and all that. The rifle stock has been revarnished, of course. It's got blue parts on there from the factory, from this rebluing time here. There's the bottom of it, typical Mauser, typical butt plate with a little bit of crusty on there. We'll take care of that here later on after video. There's your side saddle. You'll see that these swivels here are very much like the CZ24s, because it's basically a copy of the CZ24s. Basically, that they were very popular. These you can see these with and without straight bolt handles and curved bolt handles. Generally, if they've been curved, they'll have the couch or the little wood removed here, so you know the bolt, you can get your finger underneath the bolt and get it back up on the ball there. This is in 8mm Mauser. You can pick these rifles up, especially the F&N produced ones, and they can run the gamut into multiple calibers, 30-06, 8mm Mauser like this one is, 7mm Mauser. Also, you can find them in 7.65 by 53 Mauser, or Argentine, as some people would call them. They made tons of these F&N and CZ for export. You can even find these in 308. The ones that you'll find in 308 were ex-Israeli ones that they bought from the Czechs, and they'll be in 308 when they rebarreled everything. So these guns shoot pretty damn well. Standard 8mm. They're good for hunting rifles, truck rifle, something that you want to beat up and this and that. You can even go as far as sportingizing these. I wouldn't do that anymore because these are starting to become far and few in between. I hate to say sporterizing Nagant because they made 15 million of them, but still. And you know, back in the day when they were $59 at Centerfire Systems, you could do that and not lose nothing. And then you spend some of us collectors and reenactors out there will spend a lot more money what the rifle's worth on trying to restore it. And I'll give you an example of that with a cousin of this, and here it is. We'll do another version of this one. This one right here is another F&N. As you can see, it's very, very close to it. Same swivel stocks, or same swivels, I should stay on the stock. Except this one here has where the yugo, if it'll come in. It says Fab, National de Gardier, Herschel, and Belgium. This is an F&N model 24/30. You'll notice that there's some markings on it. We'll do a different one down here. And then you'll notice that it's got a Colombian crest on it. And this bad boy is chambered in 30-06. I was able to save this from the chopping block of a guy who was going to sporterize it, but I was too late. The issue is down here at the end where you see the muzzle cap there. Looks a little different there, doesn't it? He hacked off about 3 inches of the end of the barrel to make this some type of backpack carbine. So we're gonna have to rechamber it, or not rechamber it, but fix the barrel crown on it and get a new crown on there. We already got us a rear sight on there. We'll not be able to use a bayonet on this gun for sure because of the distance there. So yeah, he hacked a good 3 inches off of it. Once we get the crown repaired on it, then I'll be able to shoot it. And I'll do a video on this one all by itself. But as you can see, it's identical in shape and form and function, except it's in 30-06 instead of 8mm. And this would have been something that they sent back to F&N to do, simply for convenience, because the Colombians and a lot of South American people also bought the F&N Model 50, the last Mausers that they made, and they were all in 30-06, so they wanted to, and they had a lot of U.S. supplied Grands at the time in the 50s and 60s, so they wanted to square away on one round. Kind of like what the Yugoslavians did with 8mm Mauser. After the end of World War II, they had all these 8mm Mausers, captured K98s, their own Model 24s, and they standardized on this caliber versus the Russian rounds. And the reason why is because Tito really was a half-assed communist. He did not believe in relying on the Soviets as much as he did. That's why in the late 80s you see that we were buying Yugoslavian cars. You know, if you remember the little Yugo car. The Yugoslavians made their own 8mm sniper rifles because they had stockpiles and stockpiles of 8mm. So these went to second line reserve troops and stayed in there all the way till Tito died, and then finally the start of the Balkan Wars with Tito's death and Yugoslavia falling apart, and then everybody had them. They had these, they had K98s, they had their own M48s, and they used everything from shotguns to 38 Special Model 10s to whatever they could get a hold on for the Balkan War. So that's a whole nother episode. But yeah, this would be a good Balkans War reenacting gun. It's good for World War II as well, as long as you're not portraying a frontline troop. If you're portraying a reservist or support troop, this would be good for it. This one's all matching. The Colombian is, the Colombian is not, because I saved the action. The stock is actually a CZ24 stock that I had laying around. So, good rifle, shoots really good once you learn the point of impact and aim, and when you got to aim with it, because you know they do have those 300 meter battle sights on them. And once you get that, you can do it. If I suggest, if you want to put a scope on one of these M24s, get the ones that you have to knock out the pin right here, and you put the scope mount there, and then you put the scope up here top, like you can put a 4x32 or 3x9x40 on it at that point. That way you don't have to mess up the stock, which are getting hard to find and expensive. Or get one of those Monte Carlo stocks from ATI or Tapco and do it that way. Don't drill the receiver, and for the love of God, don't do like this guy did here and cut the barrel off like that. It'll ruin it later on. And then keep the parts. That way, if you want to go back to original, when values will go up, and they do go up, we all know this. If you remember the days of $99 or $69 SKSs, then you'll know what I'm talking about. So just remember that. Don't destroy your guns. You can modify them to put scopes on them and make them good deer rifles. These are extremely good deer rifle. 8mm Mauser has taken game across the world. It's a good rifle. That's all I can say. Just remember that Produce 44 is not the year of the rifle. It is the name of the factory and the factory code where it was reworked. The 52 on this is something else I want to get into. Come on. Yeah, the M24/52. The 52 is a year that this was reworked. What that means is that it was taken into the arsenal to be checked for tolerances. Any parts that need to be replaced would have been replaced. Stocks would have been refinished. They would have been reblued and stuck back into either back into their reserve units, or by 1952, I'd say they were definitely being stuck back into their into the arsenal to be stored away for future wars if they were needed. And they were needed. There's how much take-up you get on a trigger. You know, these are not max-grade triggers. There you hit the wall, and then it breaks very hard. Of course, all these rifles are on this table without live ammo in them. And they're always checked before. So these were used later on, like I said, in the Bosnian Wars, the Yugoslavian War, all the Balkan Wars. Old, good workhorse rifles here. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is not a precision shooting rifle. It will not shoot 1-inch groups or 1 MOA at 100 yards. This is not made to do that. This rifle should be able to shoot 6 MOA at 300 meters all day long or better. The reason why I say that is this is a battle rifle. This is not a precision rifle. Remember, you're aiming at the person's silhouette, not a small dot downrange. So if you get one of these and you put a scope on it, just remember you should be able to hit deer at 100 yards within the size of a cereal box lengthwise. So a rectangle lengthwise. You should be able to shoot at 100 yards. You should be able to get 3-inch groups. give some, take some of that 3-inch groups, give or take a little. So, depending on the rifle, because I guarantee you this one would probably shoot 3-inch group. This bad boy here, with the way that crown is at the bottom, you know, the way that crown is there. If it shot 6-inch groups at 50 yards, I'd be happy. But once we get the crown redone on the old Colombian here, we'll work on it. So anyway, remember, like and subscribe our videos. We get lots of views. Watch out, my hand got in the way. Watch our reviews. That's great. Love it. Love the love on those. We love the comments. If you got an M24, let us know. If you have 8mm Mauser, let us know. We're going to do more battle rifles here as soon as we get through our handgun series and get back on our World War I series of rifles. We got a couple more to do. And then we'll start the mid-wars, which I guess we've already started the mid-wars here. So this is a mid-war rifle, of course. World War II. This is a mid-war rifle, even though it was in, even though it was originally in South America, it's still considered a World War II rifle, simply because it was made slightly before that time period. So it's an interwar rifle, I guess I should say. And we'll do. So this will be a start of our series on the interwar models of Yugos. I got a couple captured. Well, no, I think this is the only one. I got a CZ24 we can do too. So, and a couple Czech rifles. I got a CZ22 we'll do. So anyway, like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know about your favorite 8mm rifle. And we'll see you guys next time.